I'm sitting here doing my NUA, and there's a reason for it. Today, I'm taking you on a road trip, and we are going to go and visit Dr. Michael Varveris, and he is going to do the professional level of this on my face today. I have been using the NUA for about 6 or 7 years, love it. I do have some videos using it, talking about it. I can do an updated video for you if you would like. The reason why I wanted to start with my NUA is that I know many will not be able to have this done at a professional level. I have been doing this, like I said, for about 6 years, and I love it. It's great at tightening up the jawline and the neckline. I use it all over my face except for not over my eyes. So I wanted to share the NUA with you today before we head on over to Dr. Varveris' office because it is on sale. I just ordered myself another one. I think it's going to be pink. It is normally over $300. It's marked down to, I believe, $207 or $208. With my Tammy10 code, you can get the unit for $187. I have been very, very happy with this. It does heat up nicely. It comes with a conducting gel, which you do have to use with one of these. And you'll notice it's flashing green now. That's letting me know that it's heated up to where it needs to be heated up in order to really reach the dermal layer. And it is a 4-minute treatment in each area. And the smaller you go, the warmer it is. The larger you make your circle, the less warm it will be. I like to really focus small. Anyway, this is what I'm having done on the professional level today. So I wanted to share that with you. So let's head on over to Dr. Varveris' office. Be sure to read underneath in the description box. I will have my code for the NUA if you are interested in this. And I will have more information about Dr. Varveris underneath the video. All right, friends, let's go to Naples and stimulate some collagen. All right, friends, here we are, and I'm with Dr. Michael Varveris. Am I saying that right?
Correct. You're like in Athens.
Okay, and I'm going to let him tell you just a little bit about himself before we get started, and then as he goes along, he will talk about what he's doing. And when I'm done, maybe I look 100 years younger. All right? So, Dr. Varveris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm currently in Naples, Florida. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. I did internal medicine in Orlando. I also did a little pathology, and I've been in Naples since 2000. I ended up taking over a rheumatology internal medicine practice in 2000. I've converted that into kind of an adult medicine, internal medicine practice. And over the years, that was converted into a preventative cardiology clinical lipidology practice. And currently I'm doing anti-aging, regenerative, and functional medicine.
And that's what brought me to him.
This is true.
All right, so what are we doing on me today?
Well, we're using a device called TempSure Envi. It uses light energy. It's a laser, but it's a heat laser. Okay. So you can have a laser where you have a low wavelength, high frequency, and you cut things and burn things, and you can use that for certain aesthetic things, cosmetic things. This is on the other end of the spectrum. So this is going to be long wavelengths and low frequency. So it's heat energy. So
Okay.
so what it's doing is it's heating water molecules in your dermis, which is underneath your epidermis.
Epidermis.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the dermis is, because of, time and gravity and obviously sun radiation. And sometimes this also fits with my anti-aging practice with hormonal disturbances, micronutrient deficiency states, toxicity states is a big player. So all of those impact on what your skin looks like and feels like and how healthy it is. This is adding energy. Energy is life, right? The sun gives us energy. When you have a puppy running around, that's extra energy. When it's an old dude, he doesn't have as much energy.
Like us.
Like us. Yeah. So this is, adding energy. And what's cool, like when we're, our skin looks thinner and older. And again, there's many things play into it, but part of it is that these certain cells in the dermis that are able to make collagen, able to make elastin, which is the scaffolding, because when you're having wrinkling, the scaffolding is breaking down all that solar radiation. These other things are breaking it down, and that's where the skin's sagging, etc. So with this energy, you can reawaken those cells. They are not dead. They're there, and guess what? They become youthful again, and they start. What I like it is, medicine's supposed to be healing art, so this is promoting healing. So anti-aging medicine to me is healthier aging, promoting healing, not just covering things up with pharmaceutical drugs.
Right.
So this is promoting healing.
Okay.
And you know, you need to be patient about it, right? Because you're not going to, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? You
Right,
start with the
exactly.
foundation, obviously. Now, what's nice about this is if a person's going to get this done, they're going to look nice that night. You know, sometimes with some of these other things, you're going to want to hide yourself away for a few days, right? So this, most likely, you're going to look nice that night because you're going to have a little microedema in those areas. It's going to look fuller, you know, attractive, whatever. Now, that's going to go away. And then over time, now what's cool, one treatment will give you, you know, on average, these are the rules, some people longer, some people shorter periods of time, but will give you benefit over 3 months. So what I usually recommend to a person, if they're doing the face, which is what we're going to do for you, for example, do a treatment and then repeat it for somewhere around 4 to 6 times total. You know, you could do that weekly. Nothing wrong with that. You wouldn't want to do it daily. You want to give some time for that to set, to move on. So you could do it weekly if that worked with your schedule, every other week, every third week, whatever. Do that for 4 to 6. And then depending on what happens, you will want to do that again in the future. But since it's promoting healing, what ends up happening is as you do it, it works better because you're building this house and it's more stable and more beautiful and whatever. So the more you do, the longer it lasts, the better it looks, etc.
Okay.
This is good for, you know, skin texture, fine lines, tightening, and there's some other things we'll talk about, I guess, at the end that are a little more invasive, forgive for terminology, which, you know, are better for, you know, for deeper lines, etc. All of them promoting healing them, all of them natural techniques.
Okay. All right. So you can go ahead and get started. And
no, I've never done this before.
Okay, well,
that's okay.
Andrea's right out there to save the day.
We've got to have someone to save the day. I am but a man, you know. All right, so this is going to feel a little cold. This is a little jelly. So.
Is this like a conducting gel for it? Okay.
Yeah. It just works better, obviously.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll do 5 minutes per area, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay. Now what's cool about this machine is, you know, the technology, these smarty pants has figured it all out. So it is sensing the temperature of your skin, it's sensing how much energy to put out, it won't burn you, it can't burn you, okay? And you're not going to be cheated out of anything because you want it somewhere between 39 to 42 degrees. Okay, that seems to be the sweet spot for doing what we wanted to have happen in the dermis. By the way, you can use this machine for other areas. There's other attachments for the body. You can heat it. You can actually destroy fat cells.
Just make a quick mention of what you put on my back before you start.
Oh, so it's a ground. So basically, there's a little sticky thing attached back there.
All right.
You want to show it to everyone?
Yeah. I'm hooked up. It's on my back.
There she is.
And I'm just hooked up here. And
I have a cattle prod over here just in case.
Okay.
You know, I don't need any problems. Okay. Anyway.
All right, so let's get
remember,
to
you
it.
told me you did jokes. So
yeah, I do jokes.
I understand.
My people love jokes. They come to me for jokes.
That's good. We like humor. It's good for you.
Yes,
we smile.
do.
It's very good. Yeah, that's a good point. If when your face looks good, use it for what it's intended, right?
That's right.
Smiling, laughing,
that's
positive.
Right.
Positive
that's
thing.
right.
All right, so we're good to go.
All right, so.
And it plays a little tune. And this is the only tune it plays, by the way. So sorry.
So you just go back and forth.
Just go back and forth, basically.
Okay. And it's 5 minutes, and that will time it. No,
40? Yeah. So what's happening is, like right now, it's timing the total treatment time.
Okay.
But it's only at 31 degrees, so it's not timing the 5 minutes. So I put in 5 minutes, which is the treatment time you're going to get, and that 5 minutes hasn't changed at all. Okay. Because we're only at 32 degrees. Okay. And what you'll notice is, like once I do this area, the heat does cross over a little bit. So you'll notice that it'll be quicker to heat up the other area. Okay. Because actually, there is some heat going down here and there's some heat going over there. Yeah.
Now on my end, what I'm feeling right now, there's a slight pressure that he's using, and
is it too much or is it good?
It's gradually warming up. Yeah. That's what I'm feeling on my end. No discomfort, no pain.
Yeah, most people, they enjoy it.
Yeah. It's like a warm bath.
Yeah, it's like a thing. So usually what you do is you just kind of close your eyes and chill out, and we can all make faces at you. It's wonderful.
Right now I'm feeling is this as warm as it gets?
Yeah.
It's very comfortable.
Yeah.
Very comfortable.
Yeah. That was 41. That was the temperature. Yeah. So
Okay.
40 to 41 is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
All right. So see, it's you know, it's nice.
Yeah, it's very.
So now I'm going to show you what it feels like when it hurts. No.
Okay.
As a comparison, as an internal control. Right? No. Anyway.
That's funny.
Okay. So
And,
basically, what happens is, so we did. So it was 5 minutes. Of the 5 minutes, so the total time it was 7 minutes 8 seconds. So
Okay.
therefore, it was 2 minutes and 8 seconds of warming up.
Okay.
And you'll see at the end of it, it'll be less than 2
Less
minutes.
and less because it's
because this is a
already-
little
yeah.
warm.
Right.
Like for example, right now it's already
It's
at
warm.
35
Yeah.
degrees. You know.
Yes. So while we're doing this little segment, what do you, because you talked about nutrition,
Right.
what are your views on keto, carnivore,
Right.
or plant-based diets? Because those are the three diet lifestyles they should be.
Right.
Those are the three things that most people are grasping right now
Right.
because they don't know what to do for
Yeah, they
themselves.
want to find truth. Yeah, they want
Yes.
to find it and they want guidance. Well,
Right.
first off, if anyone ever says to you, or seems to say, this is the diet for everyone, they're wrong.
Yes,
Okay?
absolutely.
We're all different.
And there are people
Yeah.
on the internet telling people
I know,
that
that's-
keto is the only way
Yeah,
to go.
anyone who says that, disregard them.
Yes.
Anyone who says that. I mean, it's so. Think how ridiculous of a statement. Because what
Yes.
they're doing is they're creating a religion.
Right.
Well, religion is between us and God.
Yes.
God is perfect.
Yes.
Well, guess what? Nothing in this reality right now is perfect,
Right.
including anything we just talked about.
Yes.
So, part of it is how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not everything, because obviously people can feel good, and God forbid they have a stroke the next day. So, feeling good doesn't mean everything,
Mm-hmm.
but it's important. So, you listen to people, and first off, let's go over things that are rules. You want to eat food.
Right.
What is food? Things that God made. What you don't want to eat is food products. Don't even call them food products. They're poison. They're Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde experiments.
Yes.
So, part of it, words are powerful. So calling those things food is, if you base things on lies, you're in big trouble, aren't you?
Yes.
So that's a lie. So number one, eat food, don't eat food products, right? That's important. Drink a ton of water, right? Most of us over our lifetimes, we just are supposed to be grapes and we become raisins and raisins and raisins and dried out raisins, So for example, just that with hydration. Let's say you have a person that's, just for sake of discussion, there's 2 gallons down in water, just making up a number, okay? You know what they couldn't do? And let's say you have a person, their body, just making up numbers, wants them drinking a half a gallon a day, just making up numbers, just for sake of discussion.
Right.
All right, and they're 2 gallons down. You know what they couldn't do? Drink 2.5 gallons today and I'll be done with it, right? So they'd have to drink more than a half a gallon, for a good period of time, whatever. So anyway, so with food, all right. What do you digest? And a lot of our food is we don't consume it correctly. Digestion starts with chewing. A lot of people, the food's bothering them. This is much more common in men, of course, right? We just wolf it down.
Yes.
Even though we were never in prison, we wolf it down anyway. It's like, were you in prison? Wait, you're a doctor. What's going on here, right? Yeah. The point is, you want to do what's right.
Right.
Remember, you can't, you don't want a doctor putting your square peg into a round hole, right? Well, don't do it to yourself. So anyway, so you want to eat food, you want to be hydrated, right? You want to start the digestive process. And here's the other thing. You know what food should do? Remember we talked about energy? Food should give you energy.
Yes.
You should digest it comfortably. It should give you physical and mental energy. So here's how you know food's good for you. Now it's got to be food. You got to be hydrated. You got to chew it correctly, right? You got to, because most people, what are the problems we have in our life? Is it that we don't know what to do? We don't know what not to do.
Right.
No, that's not our problem. Our problem is we know what to do.
Right.
We know what not to do, and we won't do.
Yes.
Or we'll say, well, let's do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll do that later. The problem with later is, it's always later. It's always tomorrow,
Right.
right? Anyway. Common sense about it, So I would think human beings are meant to eat animal products and plant products, both, and then it just comes down to, what works best for you, following those particular rules. And then But other than that, most of us do consume too much animal product. So,
Yeah.
but if you, listen, I had a patient who came in here and he was doing this carnivore thing and he was losing weight, he was looking good, his skin looked good, his mood was good, you can just tell just from the vibe that you're getting. And then the blood work said, good. Now his wife didn't like it. Because the problem is when you're married, of course, it's kind of hard if someone's eating one type of thing and the other person's eating something completely different, obviously.
Right. And let's get back to this for a minute. Who should not have this done? I mean, if someone has really bad rosacea.
Well, okay, see what you always talk it over. Because what's funny about a lot of those things you mentioned, it actually might improve it over time.
Okay.
It's the funny thing about it is that that it's definitely possible, if not probable, that it'll help it. Now, it might activate it at the beginning. So it's sort of like some of these other laser things that people will get. Imagine it's sort of like bringing injuries to the surface to help heal them. So, obviously, it depends on the person. So obviously, it's, you would just want to have a discussion with that person and say, listen, hey, this might happen.
Right.
Okay. And then, you worship God, not this. Nothing is perfect for everyone. I haven't yet met that person.
Right.
So far in the conversations I've had, in those people, so let's do it anyway. You know what I'll probably do? I'll probably do less energy. The way I figure you always could put more salt in the sauce. You can always dial it up later if you wanted to. Right? So maybe we'll do a shorter time. Maybe we'll do less energy. Maybe we'll say, let's just get it to 39 and hang there.
Right.
And see. And usually what happens is, most of the time what you were concerned about doesn't even happen. And if it happens, usually it's less than they expected. And here's what's cool. You do it the next time and it's better. And that proves the point. Because if it's something wrong for you, if you do it again, it'll be the same, if not worse, correct?
Right.
And so there's a difference between acclimation and your body says, I don't think I like that.
Right, exactly.
So you have the discussion, you wouldn't want to do this on open sores. Obviously that kind of stuff.
Common sense.
I would say use common sense stuff.
Any doctor that's going to do it on an open sore.
Exactly.
Run.
You know what? And the other thing, you don't want to be the next person using that machine. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Wait.
You did ask me about fillers and Botox.
Right.
I have no fillers.
Right.
And my Botox, the last time I had Botox was 4 months ago.
Yeah. So here's what you wouldn't want to do. Okay, if you're going to be doing those things, you would want to do this first and then have those done. Here would be a bad idea, especially for either of them really. You have your Botox done today, you have your fillers done today, and you have this done tomorrow. Because this might, those things need to settle and do their stuff.
Okay.
So you would want to, so again, if you were, now see what I like about this, my hope in doing this is over time, you're like, oh, I don't need the Botox.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
The Botox. Now sometimes with this, right around here, it can get a little hot because the bone holds on more of the heat. Again, by the way, with this, if you feel like you're being burned, you're still not being burned.
Right.
Now I guess if a person was insane and was torturing you, you have some KGB thing, and just had this and held in one place, I guess it could burn you.
Well, I think what's important is whoever's doing it, be it the doctor or a technician, they need to keep moving.
Oh no, you have to move.
Yes.
You have to move. You have to follow the person's body language.
Right.
And then the other person needs to be a non-masochist. Obviously, if something's bothering you, And most, it's most people are kind of normal about these things. If something's bothering them, they'll tell you.
Right.
Then anyway. But that's it. You're just trying to figure out. The thing about it is, if you move too quickly, it doesn't heat enough.
Yes.
So it's there's just like everything. It's just, you're trying to find that, like everything.
Right.
You're trying to find that balance. That sweet spot.
Exactly. Do you have people that come for this for just particular areas, like for me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This area here.
Yeah. Like for example, I'm just thinking of the last person I did this on. It was for the neck.
Okay.
You know. Now you'll see a redness. That's just the the heating and stuff that'll go away.
Well. Okay, so that's it. We are done. I'll sit up so you can see my face. Now, isn't it? It's plump. I think my cheeks look like you filled them.
Oh yeah, no. What's funny is that's the and what's cool. You know what's cool? What's going to end up happening to you when it's all said and done is the result 24/7 will be better than this without the redness. Now you have to, because that's so basically you're having that micro edema in the dermis, and that's what you're seeing right now. So that's kind of what's been affected.
Okay.
And so then those cells are going to release the collagen, release the elastin, start slowly but surely recreating the scaffolding. And of course, you're going to do well. You're going to keep yourself hydrated. You're going to eat healthy food. You're going to do appropriate skincare.
Exactly.
To me, it's a no-brainer. And most people, once they're done, they're very happy. It does take a little patience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's not a quick fix.
No, it's not. You get what's nice again. You look pretty good right now. You'll look good tonight. You'll probably look good tomorrow. Like this kind of a vibe.
I look good every day.
Of course you do. God bless you. So, but anyway, so but this kind of vibe. Yeah. And then that edema goes away. Yeah. But then what's happening is, and then you do some repeat treatments.
Yes.
And then there's there you go. So it's it's
and
a
then
helpful thing.
After you do like say 4 or 5 treatments.
Sure.
How often do you think someone would need this?
But you look at the person. So basically, it's you play with them. So what I usually do is we talk, and obviously you do 4 or 6 of them, and then you say we could do it a variety of ways. Let's say, for example, that they were doing it weekly. Not that you have to, but let's say they were doing it weekly and they did 6, which would be a more maximal thing. Then you'd say, you know what, we could do, like dial back. Maybe do your next treatment in 2 weeks, your next treatment in a month, your next treatment in 2 months, your next treatment in 3, and then when you do it that way, your body's telling them when they need it. So basically, if you're always dialing back, then what will end up happening at some point, they'll say, hey, wait a minute. We dialed back every 4 months, and I've noticed in the past 2 weeks it's starting to go backwards. And you say, you know what? You need it more than every 4 months. See, so that's kind of how you figure it out. You let the body tell them. And I like doing it that way because then you'll see it, rather than saying, well, let's just go to every 6 months.
Okay.
Right from the get-go.
And if
you could, of course.
Right. If you are someone who has Botox and fillers,
right,
and like you're in between, how does this affect the filler or Botox? Like your Botox, you're 2 months into your Botox, and I don't know.
Well, what you do is, again, you always individualize for the person. Okay. Again, I'll repeat what I said earlier, but forgive me. So let's say they said to you, yeah, I'm going to do Botox and filler. God bless you. Okay.
Right.
And again, you say, and then maybe they might agree, like, hey, maybe I won't need as much later. Great. Okay. So then the only thing you wouldn't do, forgive me for repeating, would be have Botox and filler today and come in tomorrow for this. That would be a bad idea. So I'd give it a period of time.
Right.
2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever.
Right.
Then, remember, you're you, I'm me, everybody's different.
Right.
So what you would do would be to say, and hopefully they'll be more looking at it long term than short term, but regardless, you would say, okay, how long, we did it on your, where do you get Botox? So I get it on my forehead. Okay, when was your Botox done? 8
Right.
weeks ago. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with doing it now. Okay.
Right.
And you would say, okay, how often, you've been doing it for a while, right? Yeah, I've been doing it for years. Okay, how often does it last for you? Oh, I kind of go there 3 times a year every 4 months. And then you would say, okay, so let's see. Now here's what's interesting, and this is why I like this, although the person needs a little bit of patience. Now, sometimes what happens is nothing. Everything's fine, everything's great, who cares? But this sometimes has happened, where they're like, hey, it lasted 3 months. Oh, it's not good for that. But you say, and you go over with them, and you say, and some people say, you know what, let's just not do it in that area. I'm going to do it on my eyes. Okay, well, do whatever you want. Okay, but other people, I'll say, you know what I would do, because again, if something's bad, because there's adapting versus something's not for you, and sometimes if you have patience, you know what you do? You do it the second time. If it's bad for you, it's the same, if not worse. If it's not, and it's acclimating, it's less. So for example, and so far in my experience, every one of those people, here's what's happened. They said, okay, I hear you. It was 3.5 months. What's the big deal? And you say, okay, let's do it again and see. And they'll say, you were right. Because now it's not 3.5 months. It's not 3 months. It's 5 months. And you say, see, I told you.
Okay.
Because it's remember, Botox isn't healing.
Right.
Now some people argue it's healing because since it's paralyzing the muscles and the muscles aren't moving, it's okay. That's an arguable conceptual point. Right. Anyway, so that's, by the way, it's a good thing for all of these things. Obviously, if you do anything and blood squirts out of your eyes, I'm making a joke. Don't do it again.
Exactly.
But if it's one of these things where it's whatever, sometimes your best bet, depends on the situation, is be patient and do it a second time.
Right.
Because if it's not for you, nothing's for everyone. God's for everyone, but not everyone. Right. So if it's not for you, what'll happen is it'll be the same, if not worse. Right. Okay. Right. Versus if it's an adaptation, an acclimation, one of these things, the person will say, oh, it wasn't as bad. And once you determine that, you say, then almost always it's like, actually, this is good for you just to be more patient. And there's the reason they say patience is a virtue, isn't it?
Right. All right, so now the next thing they're going to ask me is about price. Is it per treatment, or do you have a package?
Yeah, of course. It's like everything. So basically, the more you do, so obviously if a person, here's what you're not going to do. You're not going to do this part of your forehead. No. Right? So you're going to do it with things in the face, which is what we've demonstrated here. You're going to do, an area here, 10 minutes here, or 10 minutes here, or 10 minutes here, like this person I was mentioning earlier, 10 minutes there. Okay, and that would be a price. Now, obviously, if they do more of them, I keep dropping the price. Right. Okay. Until, if you would drop it more, it actually becomes cheaper total. So that's my point. So I try to be reasonable. I drop it down. Right. People seem happy. Okay. And then the same thing. So if you do, and again, if you do more areas, so if you do one area, it's a certain price. If you do two areas, it's obviously less than doing 1 + 1. Right. And I do it the same way. Keep dropping by a set amount until, Right. Okay. All right. I think we're done with this. So if you wanted to walk me through, and we can share some of the things. There's what he actually had on my back. And that's just like a heat conductor? No, it's just a ground. It's a ground. Oh, grounder. It's a grounder. You know how you have to have electricity ground? That was so I didn't go. Exactly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, he has other things that he offers, so I thought that I would just walk through with him, because I do have a lot of viewers that actually live in Naples and the Fort Myers, Estero, Bonita area. So I thought I would just take you through and introduce you to some of the other things. Well, he'll introduce you. I'm just going to hold the camera, okay? If they talk back, that's a problem.
What's that?
If they talk back, because I'm going to introduce you. If they talk back.
Okay, so when you walk in to Dr. Varveris' office, he has a lovely artwork all over, and that is him. And then he has his little treatment rooms, and that's my beautiful Andreea. And he's going to walk us through now.
All right, so this is a muscle building machine on skull. Okay. So it has different, these are for, you can use it for calves, you can use it for biceps, triceps, You can use it for outer thigh, inner thigh, obliques.
And this is for muscle stimulation?
Muscle strengthening, yeah. And it's
strengthening.
very powerful.
Okay.
You know, it basically, you know, I don't know how they gather this, but it basically gives you the equivalent of 20,000 contractions in a 30-minute treatment.
Wow.
And there's a recruitment of muscle fibers of up to 95%. And you're only using that muscle group. So for example, if you're doing abs, right, you're going to be using your neck and your hip flexors and your low back and other things. This will just be getting your rectus and your obliques, you know, and just think of 20,000 contractions. I mean,
so if someone really had back issues,
yes,
this
exactly.
would help to build the core.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so you don't just do it for aesthetics.
Right, exactly.
Right? But you can do it for, you know, for example, it gives you just for fitness, it gives you an advantage. When you strengthen your core, then what happens, and this is what you want the person to do, they'll all of a sudden be able to do all these other things that they weren't able to do and even get a stronger core, stronger things. Similarly, you know, you do this on your triceps and you'll realize, oh, I'm able to do these other tricep things, you know? So that's how it builds upon that. And then they have these other pads here, which I don't have on it. This is for your abs. You can use it for your quadriceps. You can use it for your hamstrings. You can use it for your glutes. You can use it for, you know, saddlebag area, etc. So it strengthens muscle for sure. It does destroy fat cells, but it's not strong for that. So what I'll do for that is the other machine with different attachments.
Okay.
And use the heat. And the other thing I'll do is you can do that for up to 2 hours, like to really get rid of fat. You know, they have it with this pad.
Okay.
Okay. They call it TempSure. It's this little pad. There's smaller ones and larger ones. And you can do up to 2 hours with that pad before the pad doesn't work anymore. So you can do like 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here. You know, you could really dramatically get rid of fat.
Is there any pain with this?
No, the thing is it has to be connected. So sometimes it happened on me when I first did it, you'll feel this zinging. And all it is that area isn't completely sticking to your skin. So it's just, you know, but you know, all you really need to do is put pressure on it, the zinging goes away. So that's on, that's with not with this. With this, it's, you know, because if you have it done, the muscles are really contracting. You're like, wow, I've never felt that before in my life. So it can be uncomfortable. So what you do with the person is you kind of dial it up to where, like, okay, you don't want it hurting, but you want to, can you handle that? I can handle that. And when like, for example, with these are 30-minute treatments. There's 6 5-minute blocks. They're 1 minute 40 seconds of strong contractions, 1 minute and 20 seconds of very strong contractions, then 2 minutes of recovery, and then it repeats. So what you'll do is you'll dial it up to a certain percentage, obviously 100% is the max, and then they go through the recovery and you dial it up 5% more, 5% more, and then what happens the next time they do it, they're able to do more and more. Yeah, so it's very, very helpful. So that's that.
Okay.
And this is a machine, this is the radio frequency micro needling.
Oh.
So this is really good for like deeper lines, really helps with skin, you know, like for example, people with like acne scars and bad acne, if they do it over and over, it's very helpful for clearing up the skin. It can get rid of, like, also very good for tightening. Now it's microneedling, so it has discomfort. So,
okay, and what's a downtime on something like that?
Well, it depends on because obviously there's going to be some downtime. For most people, a few days, if that.
Okay.
You know, it's not like this. You're going to look great today. You're going to look great tonight. You're not going to have with this. If you had this done, you're probably not going to want to go out to dinner tonight. You know.
So there's a little bit of blood involved, a little tenderness maybe. Do you know?
Yeah. Well, what you'll do, it depends. Like, for example, obviously the worst is right here.
Yes.
Now, what I can do, this is an advantage for me being a medical doctor, I can do dental blocks.
Oh,
as long as you're okay with the person putting a needle, you know, it's really easy. It's not, and then then there's no problem at all.
Right.
So then the worst area becomes the best area. Otherwise, really, other parts of your body aren't that bad.
Okay.
You know, the only thing is, you know, so forehead, around the eyes, this is tender, but what you do is they put up, you know, good numbing cream on at home. You put it on before the procedure. You know, and as long, you know, and it's quick.
Okay.
It's you know, like that takes time. You just go quickly over the area.
Okay.
But it's much more potent. So like what I'll do to combine them, for example, is I would do that for the whole face. And then on like lines, like I have these lines, because when you're doing it just that way, it's so quick, it's not that bad. Because if you're just doing these 11s, and you're just doing these, and you're just doing these, which is what would be done, like for example, on myself, you know, it's not that bad.
Right.
And you don't really need to do more, because I mean, the advantage of doing that over everything over my face, when you've already done that, is minimal.
Right.
So then, you know, So yeah, so that's cool, and it's I mean, for hands, for all kinds of stuff. So it's good. And even for like, let's say you want to aesthetically here. Again, the person has to be doing the right thing for themselves. You know, caloric, you know, low carbohydrates. So their body is burning fat and lower calories and activity and exercise and water and all of these things. Make sure their hormones are good. Blah 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 blah. But then they could do that that flexure, which is on that same machine with that pad. Right. They can get it. You know, if they have the 2 hours, I would get your money out of it. You know, because that when because you're buying the way they have these pads, when you plug it in, it will not work after 2 hours. Oh, okay. And there's a replacement. You know, obviously you have to buy these pads. Okay. Like that handheld thing I use it over and over. Right. You know, it lasts for a certain time, and I have to get a new one. But there's no cost for you. Right. But these pads would be a cost. Okay. You know, because for me they're not inexpensive items, so you want to get the most out of it. So you do that, and you could do the strengthening the abdomen, right? And then of course you want the person doing cardio and blah, 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 all of these things. Like
none of these are a magic pill unless you participate.
You know what? It's like this. It's sort of like this. I want to get to that wall. I need to walk, but if I'm walking and someone's helping me move along, I'm going to get there a lot quicker. Right. So if the person says, I refuse to move, you're going to nudge them a little bit. It's, you know, it's almost, I don't think it's worth doing it. Personally. The person would have to make their own decision. Okay. But on the contrary, if they're willing to do their thing, they can be very, very helpful. And then for this, you know, because a lot of times you see these people when they lose weight, the way their skin, it can help tighten that up. Now it's not surgery, but here's the thing, you know, surgery, there's risk, and those aren't perfect either. Let's be serious. So anyway, so what's nice about this is you know, it's now this obviously, since there's needles, there is going to be some discomfort. But I'll tell you that really, it's just around here. And I'm a big baby, and I obviously had it done on myself first time, and I am a big baby. So I'm a man. I'm a big baby. We all know this. So, you know, but it's, you know, otherwise it's not that bad, especially, you know, if you do these, if you know, like you only do, and it's much more potent. Because then you're getting micro needling and radio frequency. Now for this, basically they're smarty pants, and the way they designed it, you don't need the ground. Because on the needles, one's a positive, one's a negative. So, however, these smarty pants has figured it out. Okay. Anyway. All right. Okay. So that's that. Otherwise, I do regular medicine in here.
And then we have a regular medicine room here.
For the other irregular medicine.
Yes.
Irregular medicine.
Looks like a real doctor.
That's right. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.